It's funny. I ask myself when I'm in that flow state, how can I make sure that I'm always connected to source? And what that means is not being distracted. Of course, technically we're always connected, but not being distracted with like human type things. And the answer is silence. The answer is meditation. The answer is that that stillness, that quietness before your thoughts, before your emotions, before all the shit you've been taught, and that there is a stillness, a quietness, a knowingness, a oneness. And the reason why it's so hard to describe, because it is indescribable. All we're doing is using words from the English language to try to describe truth and what is, when honestly, truth and what is meant to be felt. And a lot of us are not feeling that, or I like to say feelizing. Someone said this and it stuck with me. I love the word feelizing. I haven't heard anybody else say it. But look, we have to get back to that feelization, not of, let me feel what I've been taught. Let me feel who I think I am. Not in that type of way. I mean that stillness, that like gracefulness, that peace within. And truth is meant to be feelized. How do you feelize it? Is by giving your energy in your body to source. How do you do that? By being present. Really, you could start by taking yourself out of your ego. A lot of us think we're not in our ego, and it's not to say that ego don't play a part, but for a second you need to step back and really analyze and look at your ego and just observe. A lot of people call this the observer role. You take a step back and you don't like attach. A lot of people have unhealthy attachments, and what I want to say is like the attachments that you're called to let go is not always material or even other humans. It is the attachment to your ego. And when people get attached to their ego, it's just so easy to get caught up in, oh, my, I identify with my ego, which I identify with the story that I'm telling myself that I am a professor at this, and I am a great person because I am a pastor and saying the word, even though you know what I'm saying? Those stories, we want to take a step back from that, and we want to have a level of detachment. We want to have detachment from our ego, not in a sense where you're ignorant to it, but in a sense where you're not identifying with that. You're identifying with something deeper than that that's within you. You cannot truly conceptualize it. So, but we can try. We can try. So as you are playing this observer role, you just, observe reality from your lens, but don't attach to it in a way where, oh, like this. I'm walking down the street. I feel great, right? But the language you would say as practicing the observer is, I'm aware that I'm feeling a beautiful sensation. See, beautiful is even a description. And I want to say too, like when you're trying to get into that silence, that void, that source within, sometimes it's not easy just to be silent without thoughts. But what you do is when you hear or whatever a thought, then you don't attach to it in a human way. You don't say, oh, I don't like that thought. Oh, I like that thought. Oh, da da da. It doesn't matter. Your emotions and your thoughts about the thoughts, for a second, put that to the side and say, I'm observing that this is what I am. And this is what I do not like the English language. I swear. Like when I'm saying that, when I'm saying I'm observing, this is what I am. Like these are two different eyes. But hey, so Yeah. I know there was one other thing that I wanted to say, but putting yourself in that observer role just helps you to realize like what you're really giving your energy and matter to. So you want to get in tune with that source, and then after you have that your foundation in source, that means you're not identifying with all these labels of what you said, but you may have to say these labels in order to coexist in humanity. We create language so that we can relate, that we can have, ways of communication. So it's not bad. It's just getting that balance, that foundation that we need to have in source is not there. A lot of time people think they have foundation in God, but it's truly in your thoughts of the Bible, or or the book, or your family's culture, or these type of things. And those things I want to tell you, those are all human constructs. So sometimes we got to put that to the side, but that don't mean that we ain't getting to it, because we're humans. We're here to do that. But if you don't have a strong foundation with source, then you can go this way, that way, this way. So how do you have strong foundation with source? You just give it your time and energy. All right? And it will call on you. Source calls on you. Source calls on you for certain things. But in this time and age, because of how conditioning is and how our mind is, we have to take a step. Every time that we decide we want to do something, we have to take a step back and say, is this aligned with source? Is this aligned with truth, with unity, with love? You know what I'm saying? All the high vibrational words that we would equate source or, that greatness with, that we would equate. Of course, obviously, we're in our human shits, and that's why we're going to war, fighting, doing this, doing that. But if we were all in tune with source, would we truly do that to the extent that we have? No. You know what I'm saying? And I said this the other day. I think this is a powerful point, that somebody may say, you know what? Well, I have to hurt somebody so that they can realize, like I have to whip somebody, I have to smack somebody so that they can realize what truth is. And now look at them. They realize what truth is. But truth don't call for that. Truth calls for connection. God wants each person, and this is, I'm telling you, there's two different guys that, I don't even like the word, like, I'm sorry for these language. I want you to see past my words right now. There's a God that we call on that is source bound. And then there's a God that we call on that's in the likeness of humans, of us. So it has characteristics like humans. So what God is calling people is connection, individual connection, not connection through this person, that religion, this book, that book. You need to have your individual connection with source. Okay? You don't get your connection through pain, but somebody can help guide you, but you have to ultimately do it. Oh, I have a connection with source because I sit and I meditate for 10 minutes a day, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 50 minutes, 100. I sit there and meditate, so therefore I have a connection. You will know your connection with source by the fruits of your life.
Why are you walking down the street?
Maybe I'm just walking in the nature. I just love it. Walking down the alley. Look at these trees. Ain't they so beautiful? And this house is so amazing. It looks really nice. Really different. Yeah. It reminds me of a different country. And then this reminds me of the biggest shits of America. A lot of wasteful energy, but huge. Anyways, I was gonna say one last thing. The fruits of your life. And how do you know the fruits of your life? This isn't what somebody else is judging you on, or what your society, your culture, your religion said you can and can't do. This is good, this is bad. Your fruits comes from your actions. Now, I'm sorry, life is contradicting. And I'm going to have to go into this thought I just had. When someone says, when you do something wrong, like, not when someone says, look, when somebody does something wrong, right? But they're not conscious of it, let's say. They're not conscious of it because they're not in tune with source, period. Because if you was in tune with source, then you wouldn't be doing those things to hurt people, right? However, there's something called being conscious, being, just aware. And then there's something called being consciously aware. So that is when you're able to be aware that you're aware. You're able to reflect on shit. Self-reflection type stuff. What if consciousness is like a wave of development, and some people's consciousness isn't developed to the point where they can say, damn, I did wrong. Now, what came into my mind was narcissists, right? It's so hard for you to admit that you're just done wrong, right? I guess. I really don't know, I don't know the mental behind it. That could be a whole manipulation tactic. But I would have to talk to more narcissists. Anyways, and then even talking to them could be a manipulation tactic. Because it's like, damn, you running from yourself that deep? But let's say this. Well, that's what it made me think of, a mental illness where you're incapable of doing that. But let's not even say things are mental illness. But then there is a thing, I'm sorry, I'm just going to go into my thoughts now. There is a thing of mental illness even in like nature where you see, have you ever studied that thing with ants and how like something can, they eat something and it hijacks their body and it makes them self-destruct? And it might not be the eating, it might be the energy or something, I don't know, but it makes them go away from their tribe and just self-destruct. But and if that's the case, okay, let's say that's the case. Let's just say if that's the case, right? What will we need to do? What's the solutions, baby? Because I'm solution oriented. Solutions for everything. There's something that we haven't tried that we could try. So, so interesting. So interesting. Are people destined for this stuff? I don't believe so. The right environment, the right cultivation can help someone cultivate that conscious awareness. Damn, is people not aware and they're in jail? They gotta be aware. You're aware of what you did. But are you... See, people become aware through consequences, and that's why people say smack a bitch. And beat their ass, and I bet you they're gonna figure it out. And I get it, because that's a quick solution so that more people aren't hurt, But I don't believe that we have to go to the extent of physical harm, because I believe we're so fucking intelligent that there's more that we can do. So now I just went into a rabbit hole, and it comes from that conscious awareness. I don't think everybody has that. And how do you develop it? I mean, you're going to have to work together. You cannot be in this type of society watching the shit that we watch and doing the things we do and develop the best conscious awareness, because then it's like, what is that anyways? When you're thinking about what you're thinking about, a story about what you're, like, to me, I feel like conscious awareness is like when you're able to reflect, okay? Reflect on what? A lot of times that's programmed, and this is why we can't start doing that inner work and all that type of work until you get into with source. You need to shut the fuck up for a long time. I mean a long time. You need to be in the right environment. You do have to empty out. You will become a new person. I mean, even in the past a week or two alone, I see parts of me shedding. Like, they're always supposed to be shedding. So, a lot of the things that people, I'm going to just talk about culture for a second. A lot of the things that people in today's time are like, look, I don't trust that shit. I don't trust coming together. Righteously so. They, from a human standpoint, we have been experiencing some traumas. More trauma, re-trauma, all that type of stuff when it comes to this conscious community and spiritual community. So I get it. And that's why we're going to have to come for real. Come for real, don't come at all. And what that means, and that's so crazy because what that really might mean is that you take your ass somewhere and be quiet for a long time. And that's when people start finding that peace, serenity, and in tune with the truth that they don't even want to engage. But why can't we engage? Why can't we be in tune and continue to do this? Because there's a reason why we're organizing. We're here, and that's from source. Organization is from source. You know what I'm saying? So we should be working together and organizing. But sometimes it feels like, damn, is we so far gone that we need to just sit in a jungle somewhere and shut the fuck up for a long time? Don't make the mistake of wanting to. But then it's like, there's a beauty in me even sharing this, because right now I wouldn't even be sharing this. So, I don't know, thoughts. But peace.